We live in a world that praises exhaustion. Everywhere you turn, you are told that success demands constant pressure, relentless effort, and the sacrifice of peace. The louder the struggle, the more serious the ambition seems. Rest is framed as weakness, calm is mistaken for complacency, and slowing down is treated like falling behind. But the Stoics saw something most people miss. They observed that life does not reward force, it responds to alignment. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the Roman Empire under immense pressure, did not credit his strength to endless striving. Instead, he trained himself to remain anchored in the present, because he understood that panic scatters power. The Stoics were not passive thinkers. They endured war, disease, betrayal, and loss. Yet they refused to let chaos dictate their inner state. They believed that when the mind becomes rigid, life resists. When the mind becomes flexible, life opens. Consider water. Water never argues with obstacles. It doesn't exhaust itself fighting rocks. It adapts, flows around resistance, and over time reshapes entire landscapes. This quiet persistence is far more powerful than brute force. The Stoics believed humans were meant to move the same way: calm, observant, responsive. Modern hustle culture teaches you to grip your desires tightly, to chase outcomes with urgency and fear. But desperation creates tension. Tension clouds judgment, and clouded judgment leads to wasted effort. The Stoic alternative is not laziness. It's intelligence. It's acting from clarity rather than anxiety. When your nervous system is calm, you notice opportunities others miss. You make better decisions. You attract cooperation instead of conflict. This is where manifestation begins. Not with obsession, but with composure. In the next part, we'll explore a principle that feels backward at first. Why wanting something too badly often guarantees you won't receive it. Don't skip it. This is where the shift truly begins.
One of life's strangest contradictions is this: the more desperately you want something, the harder it becomes to obtain. Most people experience this pattern repeatedly, but never stop to question it. The Stoics did. Epictetus, who rose from slavery to philosophy, taught that freedom does not come from having everything, but from needing very little. This was not a rejection of ambition. It was an understanding of how desire works. There is a crucial difference between wanting something and needing it to feel complete. Wanting is light. Needing is heavy. Needing creates emotional pressure, and pressure distorts behavior. When you need success to feel worthy, your actions become tense. When you need approval to feel safe, your confidence wavers. When you need outcomes to validate you, you begin negotiating against yourself. Detached desire removes this distortion. It says, I want this, I'm moving toward it, but my inner stability does not depend on it. That mindset changes everything. Decisions become cleaner. Boundaries strengthen. Confidence steadies. This is why some people seem naturally magnetic. They're not frantic. They don't broadcast desperation. They move with quiet certainty, trusting that what's meant for them will meet them halfway. The Stoics called this preferred indifference. You prefer success, love, comfort, but you do not allow their absence to collapse your peace. You stop bargaining with life. Paradoxically, this is when things begin to flow. When you release emotional dependency, you stop forcing outcomes. You act from intention instead of fear. And intention carries far more power than anxiety ever could. This doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you stop strangling your goals with urgency. A simple practice. Hold a desire in your mind and add one phrase, or something better. That phrase loosens resistance. It signals trust. It invites expansion rather than limitation. Detached desire isn't giving up. It's growing up. In the next part, we'll explore why the present moment is the only place where attraction actually happens, and how living in the future quietly drains your power without you realizing it. This is where awareness turns into momentum.
Most people live mentally everywhere, except where their power exists. Their minds drift between future worries and past regrets, rarely settling into the present. The Stoics saw this as the greatest leak of human potential. Seneca wrote that peace comes from enjoying what is, rather than anxiously leaning on what might be. This wasn't poetic optimism. It was practical strategy. Nothing manifests in the future. Nothing changes in the past. Every meaningful shift happens now. When your attention is scattered, your perception narrows. You miss opportunities hidden in ordinary moments. You overlook conversations that could change your direction. You ignore intuitive nudges because your mind is busy rehearsing imagined outcomes. Presence sharpens awareness. Awareness creates opportunity. There's also an energetic dimension. When you're fully present, you're not burdened by regret or fear. Your energy becomes lighter, clearer, more stable. People feel that. Situations respond to it. Magnetic individuals are not always the loudest or most impressive. They are the most here. They listen fully. They move deliberately. They create a sense of calm around them. Ironically, when you stop living for the future improves. The present moment is not a waiting room. It's the workshop where life is shaped. Every breath anchors you back into the only place where choice exists. This is why Stoic presence is not passive. It's deeply active. It positions you where life can meet you. In the next part, we'll confront resistance and why obstacles are not blocking your path, but sculpting it. This shift changes how you see every setback from today forward. Resistance is unavoidable. The Stoics never denied this. What separated them from others was how they interpreted it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that what stands in the way becomes the way. This wasn't motivational language. It was instruction. Obstacles are not interruptions. They are training grounds. Most people meet resistance and assume something is wrong. They take delays personally. They see rejection as failure. They conclude that struggle means misalignment. The Stoic perspective is different. Resistance reveals where strength is needed, where patience must develop, where perception must mature. Without resistance, character remains shallow. When you fight reality, you drain energy. When you accept it, you redirect energy. Acceptance is not surrender, it's intelligence. Consider how friction creates heat, and heat transforms matter. Pressure forms diamonds. Resistance refines capability. The Stoics believed obstacles arrive precisely where growth is required, not to punish, but to prepare. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they asked, "What is this asking me to become?" That question turns frustration into fuel. When you stop resenting challenges, clarity emerges. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding strategically. You adapt instead of collapse. Sometimes delays protect you from outcomes you're not ready to handle. Sometimes detours lead to stronger foundations. Sometimes a closed door prevents a future regret. Resistance doesn't mean stop. It means adjust. In the next part, we'll uncover how much power you've unknowingly handed away and how reclaiming it changes everything. This is where inner authority begins. Most people don't realize how often they give their power away. A comment changes their mood. A delay shakes their confidence. A number, a message, or someone else's opinion quietly decides how they feel about themselves. The Stoics believed this was the greatest mistake a person could make. Epictetus taught that external events do not disturb us. Our judgments about them do. This idea alone can feel unsettling because it removes the comfort of blaming circumstances. But it also returns something far more valuable: control. Inner authority begins the moment you stop allowing external conditions to dictate your internal state. When you say, "I'll be happy when this happens," you postpone peace. When you say, "I choose how I respond now," you reclaim it. This shift is essential for manifestation. A mind that constantly reacts cannot create deliberately. Authority concentrates it. When your emotional state depends on outcomes, your decisions become unstable. You chase validation. You tolerate misalignment. You rush timelines that require patience. But when your inner world is self-governed, something changes. You move differently. You speak differently. You wait differently. The Stoics were clear. Your peace is your responsibility, not your circumstances, not other people, not the future. This does not mean you ignore reality. It means you stop allowing reality to command your emotions. You feel disappointment without collapsing. You acknowledge frustration without surrendering clarity. Inner authority creates gravity. People trust those who are emotionally anchored. Opportunities flow toward those who are not desperate for them. Life responds differently when you stop begging it for reassurance. A simple daily practice. Before reacting, pause and ask, is this within my control? If it is, act deliberately. If it isn't, release it. This single habit strengthens inner authority faster than any affirmation. When your inner world stabilizes, your outer world reorganizes. In the next part, we'll explore a principle modern culture avoids. Why sometimes the smartest move is not acting at all. This is where patience becomes power. Modern culture confuses motion with progress. The Stoics did not. They understood that constant action often comes from fear, not wisdom. Strategic non-action is the discipline of knowing when not to move. This idea feels uncomfortable because stillness exposes uncertainty. It removes the illusion of control. But the Stoics saw waiting not as weakness, but as restraint. And restraint is strength. Nature never rushes. Seeds grow unseen before they emerge. Forcing growth only destroys the process. Human goals work the same way. Strategic non-action does not mean giving up. It means recognizing when additional effort adds no value. It means stepping back after doing your part and allowing space for life to respond. Many people exhaust themselves with unnecessary effort because silence makes them anxious. They act prematurely. They overcorrect. They interfere with momentum that hasn't finished forming. The Stoics practiced observation before action. They waited for alignment rather than forcing outcomes. This patience sharpened timing. Think of a skilled archer. The shot is decided before the arrow is released. Rushing ruins accuracy. Waiting refines it. When you practice strategic non-action, clarity deepens. You stop mistaking anxiety for intuition. You conserve energy for moments that matter. Waiting is not inactivity, it's preparation. In the next part, we'll reveal why gratitude is not politeness, but leverage, and how it changes what flows toward you. This principle quietly multiplies results. Gratitude is often misunderstood. Many think it's about pretending everything is fine. The Stoics rejected that idea completely. Their gratitude was grounded, realistic, and powerful. Marcus Aurelius practiced gratitude even in hardship, not because he enjoyed difficulty, but because he understood its role in growth. Gratitude, to the Stoics, was not emotional decoration. It was strategic focus. What you focus on expands your awareness. When you focus on lack, your perception narrows. When you focus on what's working, your mind becomes alert to opportunity. Gratitude shifts you from scarcity to sufficiency. That shift changes how you think, decide, and act. This is not about ignoring problems. It's about refusing to let problems dominate perception. When you appreciate what already exists, you signal readiness. Life tends to offer more to those who recognize value. Gratitude stabilizes emotional energy. It softens impatience. It reduces desperation. And desperation is one of the strongest blockers to progress. The Stoics practiced gratitude daily, often by reflecting on what could have been lost. This sharpened appreciation and reduced entitlement. When gratitude becomes a habit, satisfaction no longer depends on future outcomes. Peace becomes available now. And when peace becomes available now, manifestation accelerates. In the next part, we'll explore emotional sovereignty. Why your emotions are tools, not rulers. This distinction changes how you respond to everything. The Stoics never taught emotional suppression. They taught emotional leadership. Emotions are signals, not commands. The Stoics believed emotions arise within them and therefore could be guided. Two people face the same setback. One collapses. The other adapts. The difference is not circumstance. It's emotional sovereignty. Means you feel fully without surrendering control. You acknowledge anger without becoming destructive. You allow sadness without letting it define you. You experience fear without freezing. This balance is powerful. When emotions stop driving decisions, clarity returns. Your emotional state directly influences what you create. When emotions rule, reactions replace intention. When emotions inform, creation stabilizes. The Stoics practiced pausing before responding. This pause created space. Space allowed choice. When you master this pause, you master your internal climate. And when your internal climate is stable, external conditions begin to mirror that stability. Emotions are energy. Directed wisely, they become fuel. In the next part, we'll dismantle one of the biggest illusions in modern life, the belief that more will finally be enough. This one rewires desire itself. Modern life quietly teaches one dangerous belief. You will finally feel complete when you have more. More money, more recognition, more achievement, more proof that you matter. The Stoics saw this mindset as a form of captivity. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men of his time, warned that true poverty is not having little. It is craving endlessly. He understood that desire without limits never resolves. It simply moves the finish line. The philosophy of enough is not about settling or shrinking your goals. It's about separating your worth from accumulation. When happiness depends on next, peace is permanently postponed. Most people assume that once they achieve their goal, contentment will arrive. But the feeling they're chasing is not located in the outcome, it's located in their relationship to the outcome. The Stoics believe that when you feel enough internally, ambition becomes clean. You pursue growth from curiosity and purpose, not from fear or inadequacy. This distinction matters. When you operate from lack, every setback feels personal. Every delay feels threatening. But when you operate from enough, challenges become information rather than judgment. Feeling enough doesn't kill desire. It refines it. You stop chasing things that don't actually satisfy you. You stop proving. You start choosing. Ironically, this is when abundance increases. When you are not grasping, life feels safer responding. When you are not starving emotionally, you make wiser decisions, financially, socially, and creatively. The Stoics practiced voluntary simplicity, not to punish themselves, but to prove to themselves that they could be okay without excess. This reduced fear. Reduced fear increased freedom. Tonight, take inventory, not of what you lack, but of what already supports you. Health, skills, experiences. Lessons survived. This awareness recalibrates desire. Enough is not the end of growth. It is the foundation of sustainable growth. One of the most subtle obstacles to fulfillment is living a life that isn't truly yours. The Stoics understood that internal conflict creates resistance, and resistance blocks flow. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself not to concern himself with others' opinions, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity. When you shape yourself to fit expectations, you dilute your signal to life. Authentic expression is not about being loud or rebellious. It's about coherence. Your thoughts, values, and actions pointing in the same direction. When you hide parts of yourself to be accepted, you create internal friction. Life responds to mixed signals with mixed results. Many people chase goals that don't actually excite them. They adopt ambitions they were handed, not chosen. Then they wonder why motivation fades. The Stoics believed alignment begins with honesty. Honesty about what you want, what you don't want, what drains you, what strengthens you. When you live authentically, you stop attracting what isn't meant for you. This can feel uncomfortable at first, because some doors close, but the doors that open are cleaner, stronger, and sustainable. Authenticity acts like a filter. It repels misalignment and invites resonance. This requires courage. Being real risks misunderstanding, but pretending guarantees dissatisfaction. The moment you stop performing, life adjusts its response. In the next part, we'll discuss divine timing and why impatience quietly sabotages even the best intentions. This principle ties everything together. Impatience is often disguised as motivation. The Stoics saw it differently. They saw impatience as distrust in process, timing, and preparation. Marcus Aurelius wrote about accepting what fate brings and loving the people placed in your path. This wasn't passive surrender. It was intelligent cooperation with reality. Divine timing doesn't mean sitting still. It means acting fully, then releasing control over when and how results arrive. Many outcomes fail not because effort was lacking, but because readiness was incomplete. Sometimes you must grow into the capacity to hold what you're asking for. Delays protect. Detours educate. Timing shapes durability. Think back on the best things in your life. Most didn't arrive exactly when you expected them to. They arrived when conditions aligned, internally and externally. When you rush timing, you introduce strain. When you trust timing, you conserve energy. The Stoics believed the universe operates with intelligence beyond individual perspective. What looks like delay may be alignment in progress. Trusting timing reduces anxiety. Reduced anxiety improves perception. Improved perception reveals opportunity. In the next part, we'll integrate everything so far and show how these principles work together as a system. This is where flow replaces effort. Force relies on tension. Flow relies on alignment. The Stoics mastered the second. When desire is detached, presence is stable, resistance is accepted, emotions are guided, and timing is trusted. Effort becomes effective. You stop pushing life. Life starts cooperating. Flow is not luck. It is consistency without strain. In flow, actions feel deliberate instead of desperate. Decisions feel grounded instead of rushed. Progress feels steady instead of exhausting. This is the state where manifestation becomes natural, not dramatic. In the next part, we'll talk about readiness, why receiving requires preparation. This is the quiet final shift. Most people believe manifestation is about wanting something badly enough. The Stoics understood a quieter truth. Life does not give based on desire alone. It responds to readiness. Readiness is not luck. It is capacity. You may want success, freedom, or recognition, but wanting does not mean you can hold it. Without emotional stability, success becomes stress. Without discipline, freedom becomes chaos. Without self-awareness, recognition becomes pressure. The Stoics focused less on chasing outcomes and more on shaping character. They believed that life delivers experiences in proportion to what a person can responsibly manage. This is why certain things seem delayed, not because they are denied, but because preparation is incomplete. Readiness is built internally, through patience, through emotional regulation, through learning how to respond rather than react. Every challenge refines this capacity. When people receive things they are not ready for, they often sabotage them. Relationships collapse, money disappears, opportunities are misused. The Stoics saw this pattern clearly and chose preparation over impatience. Readiness means your nervous system can remain calm under pressure. Your values stay intact under temptation. Your sense of self remains stable regardless of outcomes. When readiness increases, attraction changes. Life begins offering opportunities that match your maturity instead of testing your weaknesses. This is why inner work accelerates external results. Ask yourself, if what I want arrived tomorrow, could I handle it without losing peace? If the answer is no, then growth, not speed, is required. Readiness turns manifestation from accident into alignment. In the next part, we'll explore why relaxation is not weakness, but the highest form of trust. This changes how effort feels entirely. Tension is often mistaken for effort. The Stoics rejected this illusion. They understood that a tense mind narrows perception, while a relaxed mind sees clearly. Relaxation is not laziness, it is confidence without noise. When you are relaxed, you are not distracted by fear. You are not rushing to control outcomes. You are present, observant, and responsive. This state allows intelligence to surface. The Stoics cultivated calm intentionally, not because life was easy, but because calm allowed them to respond wisely under pressure. A relaxed person makes better decisions. They listen longer, they act later, but more precisely. Relaxation signals trust. It tells life you are not panicking, not forcing, not desperate. And life responds differently to trust than it does to fear. Think about how people react to calm leadership versus anxious leadership. Calm invites cooperation. Anxiety invites resistance. Relaxation does not remove effort, it refines it. When you stop gripping outcomes, energy becomes available for creativity, insight, and timing. This is why calm people often appear lucky. They are not rushed past opportunity. The Stoics believed peace was not the reward at the end of effort. Peace was the condition that made effort effective. In the next part, we'll look at how to integrate all of this into daily life, without burnout or withdrawal. This is where philosophy becomes practice. Wisdom means nothing if it stays theoretical. The Stoics were practical thinkers. Their philosophy was designed to be lived daily, quietly, consistently. Living in flow does not require dramatic changes. It requires disciplined attention. Each day presents moments where you can choose reaction or response, panic or pause, force or flow. Stoic flow is built through small decisions, choosing restraint over impulse, clarity over noise, patience over urgency. It means checking in with yourself before reacting, asking whether something is within your control, releasing what isn't. This daily practice compounds. Over time, emotional stability strengthens, confidence steadies. External circumstances begin to mirror internal order. Flow is not passive. It is deeply engaged, but not frantic. The Stoics trained themselves to expect difficulty without fearing it. This removed shock and preserved energy. When difficulty arrives, flow remains intact. Living this way creates resilience, and resilience attracts opportunity. In the final part, we'll close the loop. How all of these principles form a single system. This is the final anchoring. The Stoics never spoke of manifestation the way modern culture does. They didn't visualize outcomes obsessively or demand specific results. Instead, they focused on alignment, and alignment created everything else. Detached desire removed desperation. Presence sharpened awareness. Acceptance transformed resistance. Inner authority stabilized emotion. Patience refined timing. Gratitude expanded perception. Authenticity clarified direction. Readiness increased capacity. Relaxation preserved clarity. These principles are not separate. They form a loop. When you live this way, you stop chasing life. Life begins responding. Manifestation becomes less about forcing outcomes and more about becoming receptive to what fits. The Stoics understood that peace is not the absence of challenge. It is the presence of wisdom. When wisdom guides action, struggle softens. When struggle softens, flow emerges. This is the quiet secret. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are ready for. Nothing is late, nothing is missing, nothing is being withheld. Your role is not to control life, but to align with it. When alignment happens, effort feels lighter, decisions feel clearer, and outcomes arrive naturally. The Stoics trusted this process, not blindly, but intelligently. And when you adopt this mindset, manifestation stops feeling mystical and starts feeling inevitable.